Ever wondered how this place went from a rough bush camp to a massive multi-billion-dollar global city? G'day, how you doing? Hope you're all good. This looks like a good place to start today's stroll. Now, if you've been watching along and following the channel, you might remember me mentioning a bloke named Walter Liberty Vernon. Well, this is one of his grander works right here, the State Library. Vernon was our legendary government architect, and he put this magnificent Mitchell wing together between 1905 and 1910. He's basically the man who gave downtown Sydney its signature majestic look. If you look closely at that stone, it's actually special. Sydney yellow block sandstone, mostly dug out of old quarries around Maroubra and Pyrmont back in the day. It gives the whole front facade this incredibly warm golden glow when the sun hits it just right. Funnily enough, this place isn't just a pretty face either. Inside those walls, they're holding over 6 million items. We're talking about priceless maps, ancient diaries from the First Fleet, and drawings that basically document the entire survival story of early Australia. It's a massive treasure trove. It really is a beautiful day for a wander through the city too. We're going to see how this area connects the old heritage parts of Sydney straight into the modern financial heart of the CBD. It's an absolutely prime location surrounded by prestigious hotels, and every corner we're about to turn has some crazy history behind it. We're going to check out some incredible transformed landmarks and find hidden secrets right beneath our feet. While we have the lights against us, let's break the algorithm and hit the like button. Let's get these videos out to people just like you. It's basically us against the algorithm out here. So cheers for backing the channel. Back in 1810, Governor Lachlan Macquarie named this stretch to honour his close mate, Judge Advocate Ellis Bent. They'd actually shared a cabin on the long ship voyage out from England and were completely on the same page about developing the colony. But the friendship didn't last. Pretty soon, they got into a massive, bitter disagreement that completely shut down the local legal system. See, Macquarie ran the colony like a total autocrat and expected the judge to just follow his direct orders. But Judge Bent stood his ground, fiercely demanding that the courts had to stay independent of political power. They clashed heavily over emancipists, which were ex-convicts who had served their time. Macquarie wanted to give them full civil rights, but Bent utterly refused to let ex-convicts practice law in his courtrooms. It became such a toxic feud that Macquarie actually begged London to fire him. But in a crazy twist of timing, before the paperwork could travel across the world, Judge Bent fell ill and died right here in the colony at just 43 years old. Over there is Aurora Place, a massive 41-story icon that completely transformed the Sydney skyline when it was finished back in 2000. This masterpiece was designed by a world-renowned Italian architect named Renzo Piano, the same legendary mind behind the Shard in London and the Centre Pompidou in Paris. Over there is the Sofitel Sydney Wentworth. Built in 1966, this modernist legend was Australia's very first international 5-star luxury hotel. It was actually constructed as the largest single brick structure in the Southern Hemisphere. Today, it's a completely transformed landmark after a massive multi-million-dollar premium refurbishment. And we have the One Farrer precinct right here on the corner. Back in 1890, this exact spot was home to the Grand Hotel Metropole, a Victorian luxury icon nicknamed the Cocky Hotel. Today, it's a completely transformed landmark featuring 2 premium office skyscrapers built directly over the top of Australia's very first Government House ruins. It's an incredible example of a heritage site turning into a multi-billion-dollar global financial hub. Over on the right, coming up is the education building, now the world famous Capella Sydney Hotel. This heritage giant was originally designed back in 1912 by George Macquarie, the same legendary architect behind the Queen Victoria building. For over a century, it served as a quiet sandstone fortress for government education clerks. Today, it's a premier transformed landmark, masterfully reborn into a multi-million-dollar 5-star luxury hotel. With the clock tower is the Capella Lands, more on that soon. And we have the Winter Garden building. But first, a quick look at this artwork right here. This massive, colourful sculpture is called Day In, Day Out, created by Australian artist James Angus. It sits right at the base of number 1 Bligh Street, a premium award-winning green office skyscraper. Personally, I think the Winter Garden building is one of the best looking structures in the whole city. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. While we're looking at these premium spots, I want to say a massive thank you to all my subscribers and an extra special shout out to the legends backing the channel as members. Welcome to our brand new member, Brad Aiken, 2175. And a huge thanks to our pioneer members, Spilt Milk 101 for the Burbs and Tony from Sydney. Your backing means the absolute world to me. If you want to join the team, the link is right down in the description below. I've also dropped a link down there to buy me a coffee if you want to support these walks. Cheers for being part of the journey today. And right next door is The Lands by Capella Precinct, which takes up this whole block. This colossal heritage-listed sandstone giant originally opened back in 1881 as the Department of Lands. It's just undergone a spectacular multi-million-dollar restoration, completely transforming the historic courtyards and grand marbled arcade. It's now open as a world-class luxury events and premium dining destination, bringing new life to a massive piece of Sydney's history. This absolute masterpiece, The Lands, was originally designed by our legendary colonial architect, James Barnett. And if you ever come down here to check it out for yourself, make sure you look closely at the external walls for the sculptures of the early explorers. Barnett left dozens of empty alcoves in the sandstone, which were eventually filled with grand marble statues of blokes like Captain Cook and Matthew Flinders. It's like a literal history book carved straight into a premium piece of inner city real estate. Now, as we make our way into Spring Street, we are walking directly over the primary reason why modern Sydney exists, right here. Back in January 1788, the first fleet set up camp nearby because of a vital fresh water source called the Tank Stream. But as the infant colony grew, the mainstream became heavily polluted and completely toxic. Desperate for clean water, the early settlers tapped into a crystal clear, bubbling freshwater spring right along this track, saving the settlement from disease and giving this street its permanent name. Now, look right here at the end of Spring Street at the Dobell Monument sculpture. This mirror-finished steel tower actually has a wild bit of local political drama behind it. It was originally unveiled over in Martin Place back in 1979, but it caused an absolute uproar. The Lord Mayor of Sydney in the 90s, Frank Sartor, completely detested it, famously saying the whole thing should be relocated deep inside the harbour tunnel. After a massive public outcry and a heated debate, they ended up moving the sculpture right here to this corner where it's stood ever since. Now, we've just crossed Pitt Street and we're wandering straight into Bond Street. As we step down this lane, we are actually walking directly over the historic Tank Stream bubbling right beneath our feet. To hear way more about how this incredible subterranean waterway shaped the colony, make sure you check out my dedicated video on it later. As for Bond Street itself, it was specifically named after the famous upscale shopping street in England. Early developers wanted to bring a sense of British luxury and commercial prestige right here to the heart of Sydney's financial district. Continuing on through Bond Street, and now here we have World Square, which is actually completely round in my opinion despite the name. It's surrounded by these incredible modern skyscrapers, and it has some genuinely great spots for lunch in this area also. It's a massive hive of activity where thousands of corporate workers pour out every single day to grab a bite to eat right in the middle of these sleek glass towers. As we keep tracking forward here, it really makes you look back and reflect on the incredible path we've just traced. Think about it. We started this whole wander right outside Walter Liberty Vernon's grand sandstone masterpiece at the State Library. Then we stepped straight into the bitter colonial feud between Governor Macquarie and Judge Ellis Bent. We checked out the world-famous Capella Luxury hotels before tracing the literal footsteps of the first fleet over the hidden freshwater spring that saved the settlement. And finally, we headed down the old financial alley of Bond Street. You really get to see how the old heritage architecture blends together with the new modern buildings. It's easily one of the best streets in the city for that. It is absolutely mind-blowing how much history is packed into just a few blocks if you take the time to look for it. Now, before we fade out, if you enjoyed wandering along with me today, can you do me a massive favor and hit that subscribe button and smash the like if you haven't already? And hey, if you really love my stuff and want to back the channel directly, think about becoming a member to support these walks. We're going to finish here, but just check this out. Look, right out front at this spectacular, massive, twisted metal sculpture dominating the main entrance here at World Square. Its spiraling metallic strands perfectly reflect the constant kinetic movement of the modern city streetscape. Thank you so much for watching What's the Name Travel and for being part of the team. Until next time, take it easy and keep exploring. See ya.